Hi, and welcome to Investment Banking University, where we teach you front office investment banking skills. Today, we're actually going to be going through a high level presentation discussing why train with Investment Banking University. And I think the big things that you're going to discover are senior banker mindset, having the skills of coverage, origination, advising on strategic alternatives in order to actually land M&A engagements to then run the M&A process. So, we're going to go through a slide deck here and learn a little bit more specifically why train with Investment Banking University. So first, we're going to go through the agenda. Number one, we're going to talk about the goals of front office investment banking training. Number two, the challenges and the opportunities that are available in the marketplace. And also getting into the deep dive on the why with Investment Banking University in particular. Finally, we're going to get into investment banking philosophy or our investment banking philosophy. And then lastly, the workshops that are actually built for investment banking. So number one, the goals for front office investment banking training are number one, we're going to be developing new hires and junior bankers at a faster rate. So if we're bringing on a senior banker, we want to make sure they have the skills of coverage and origination in more of a hunter type role. Because oftentimes it can be very easy to just simply rely on inbound opportunities and existing network. But how do we become more proactive in originating M&A opportunities? So that's going to be really key. Additionally, the goals are going to be to grow and advance deal flow. How do we move that process along faster when we're talking about advising on strategic alternatives, actually landing an M&A engagement? And then lastly, to be able to win more engagements with front office investment banking skills. So those are some of the goals that we talked through, picking KPIs for each one of those, and then having for Investment Banking University actually come in and help you hit those KPIs through superior training, through superior methodologies, through superior skill sets that we're actually teaching. So those are some really important things that we're going to be discussing here. Next, some of the challenges related to some of those goals. We have a new team coming in with limited exposure to coverage and origination, maybe very strong on the quantitative side, financial modeling and valuation, et cetera, but really lacking in some of those high level front office investment banking skills. Next, the team that relies on inbound opportunities and that really doesn't have the outreach and coverage skills necessary to bring in new deal flow to add additional value. And then finally, senior bankers may in fact lack the proper origination skills, particularly if they have done number two, which is relying on some of those inbound opportunities. So how do we transform this role into from farming or from inbound into more of a hunter type role? So why ultimately train with Investment Banking University? So we have a proven front office investment banking methodology due to my experience in the role itself. Translating that into a conceptual level that we have applied, which has been very helpful in training others. And then ultimately having those instructors like myself have deep experience in that hunter type role where you need to really be a rainmaker and originate your own M&A deal flow. So that's going to be very key. And then finally, the ability to turn the dial on those select KPIs to drive value for the org. And that's going to be, how many strategy sessions are you running in order to advise on strategic alternatives? How many engagements have you, ultimately won? And then how many deals closed? So those KPIs are extremely important in order to drive value for the M&A org. Hopping into our investment banking philosophy, we've kind of chunked this into four: senior banker mindset, getting into what is transforming the role from one that is just passive and inbound into more proactive. I think that that's going to be super helpful. C-level of alignment. So understanding and doing that analysis on what are the C-level priorities? How do we align our strategic alternatives that we're proposing, given what's going on in the marketplace to that? And then ultimately be able to originate an M&A opportunity or another strategic alternative. And then ultimately running a quality process. So how do we run a quality M&A process? Lastly, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Our workshops are built for front office investment banking. We've broken that down between our methodology. So transforming the senior banker mindset role or the role into a hunter mentality, prioritizing coverage in your overall approach in order to advise on strategic alternatives, which is number two there, that's C-level alignment, doing that deep dive on research, building those relationships, understanding what's happening in the marketplace in relation to what's possible, when multiples are strong, when multiples are weak, et cetera. And then ultimately getting into strategic origination, and then being able to win those engagements, and then ultimately run a quality M&A process on those engagements. So if I could leave it here, definitely learn more. We have the book on the website. If you want to click on that, you're going to be able to really get an understanding of what methodology we have here. We'd love to work with you in a greater capacity, whether it's through the online course, in-person workshops. You want to book a strategy session, click on that. I'm happy to set aside 30 minutes to kind of talk through things, but very excited. This is a very exciting time in your life or your organization's existence to be able to take that next step. And we hope that you'll choose Investment Banking University to be a part of it. Thank you very much.